Hi, I want to spend a moment and talk about IPS Strategic Capital Custom Structured Notes. These are notes that we build in-house for advisors. If you think about it, many advisors use custom structured notes for their clients either through index annuities or through products sold at banks, Wells Fargo, RBC. The problem with these notes that you buy at insurance companies or banks is that they are, in many cases, long-term. The participation rates aren't very good. And the banks are notorious for doing these 7-10 years point to point. So what happens if the market goes up for 6 and crashes the last year? You make nothing. At IPS Strategic Capital, our notes are very short term, 1, 2, 3 years. We can build them with annual reset. We can build them buffered. We can build them on any optional asset, Apple, Tesla, S&P, Russell. Very high participations. Typically, we can get 60, 70, 75% participation without market risk. Now, remember, in a structured note, when I say without market risk, what I'm really saying is that all the risk lies in the underlying bonds. So what we do at IPS Strategic Capital is to get our structured notes to give a high participation with very short term, is we actually reduce the quality of our bonds. Well, the first thing you might say is, well, wait a minute, you're going to increase the default rate, that's where the risk lies? Bad. Well, no, actually think about this. If all the risk lies in a bond, then here's what I can do. I can diversify default risk, unlike systematic risk, because systematic risk, when markets start to fall, everything starts to fall and you lose diversification. But with bonds, which is basically backed by the full faith and obligation of a corporation, the company would have to go bankrupt for that bond not to pay. So if I diversify my holdings into different bonds of different companies in different sectors, then I could highly diversify default risk, which can be diversified, mitigated. You can reduce it down to the ridiculous. In other words, let's assume I buy a Burger King bond and I hold it for 10 years. And Burger King is a BB rated bond. Well, the problem is that you would say, well, I'm not sure people are going to eat Whoppers for the next 10 years, so that's too much risk.